it's getting better all the time. And right now, today, it's as bad as it'll ever be. And where we're at is a need to be able to leverage the good that it has in order to really, and I hate saying this, but to stay relevant in the workforce that we're about to enter. It is a skill that is required.
AI is changing faster than most of us in the aftermarket realize. Is it a threat, an opportunity, or both? Today, we're joined once again by Craig O'Neil from AutoFlow to separate the hype from reality and to discuss what AI means for the future of the automotive repair business. But before we get to the meat of the conversation, we touch briefly on a book everyone in this industry needs to read. Let's jump right into the conversation. You got to ask yourself: is it what value does it have? Is it something you want to do for
Flip the
yourself?
paper.
But no, I'm not saying it doesn't have any value.
No, I already study all these things. Like to go and do the college course would actually it's now almost remedial sometimes in the subject matter that they do. You're going to sit through rote learning on something that you've been experiencing. It's silly.
Well, in some cases, you can go in and write a paper.
Yeah, and the experiential credits. Yeah. I got to look into that.
Mine's half complete, but I needed to take 3 classes. And I'm like, I was ready to step into my coaching career. I'm like, you know what? This is actually the perfect time. So that's where I admire the fact that you want to go back and get this. And so I always...
Because I want to teach eventually. That's
there you
my
go.
retirement plan.
So that's the plan. So yeah, you hit it. So
we just I'll need a credential.
We just started talking, so
that works. I've done that where we just have the chit chat element, then I'll do the pre-roll later.
Yeah, I could do
I've done that a few times.
I could do that later. Yeah, we were, so we're going to continue our conversation. Let's just roll with AI, but let's jump into what we talked about books for a second. All right. The title doesn't do it justice. How to Win Friends and Influence People. And I'm going to tell you why I don't think the title does it justice. Because in 1981, there was this neighbor that I had, and he was like one of these very extroverted, of course, an introvert. I'm like, he kind of, he put me off. I was like, man, you got to read this book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. He goes, the streets in Houston are paved with gold. I'm like, as a servant, I'm like, I'm not into this for the money. This is before I started the shop. And we're talking 45 years ago is when this was recommended to me. And I'm like, I didn't read it until 1999. And the only reason I read it was I had a communication challenge that wasn't working when I was on staff at church. So I was part-time at church and staff, but I also had the shop. Well, my communication style wasn't that great. And so I had to start to get introspective on what do I need to do to improve. That was one of the books. How to Win Friends and Influence People and Becoming a Person of Influence. Those two changed my life from a leadership standpoint and communication standpoint. So you said you just started 4 years ago is when you picked it up.
4 or 5 years ago now. Yeah, somewhere in that time window. First time I picked up that book. And so for all the listeners, if you have not read Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People, pick it up. You will be just like everyone else who does. And after you read it, you'll be like, I wish I would have read this 15 years ago. And that's the reality you're going to hit. And I actually recommend another one, this version from the Carnegie Institute or whatnot, How to Win Friends and Influence People in the Digital Age.
Okay. And that's good. Probably very relevant today.
It ties in social media interaction and other forms of digital communication as well, which is a worthy subject because a lot of times, why do people, what's Dale Carnegie teach you about? What's the thing most people love talking about the most? Themselves. What's most of social media?
Themselves.
How do you go and influence people then in a world where everyone's talking about themselves?
Right.
You go and you engage and you ask them questions. Is one of the brilliant, they have a whole chapter on this, like ways to do that. Like don't just like a post and scroll.
Right.
If you really want to engage and influence this person positively, ask them a question, draw it out. Why did they post it? They probably want to have a conversation about this thing, don't they?
Right.
Engage in the conversation. The best conversationalists ask questions to the people that they're with.
Yeah.
Constantly. You know the type. They're genuinely interested in you and they start asking you some really great questions and you watch, they engage and they'll remember you. And then you have a friend, by the way, a real one, not just
Right.
a Facebook friend, a real friend. Yeah.
Yeah, there's something that the world needs is more real friends. I love the fact that they've updated it. I hadn't seen it, nor was I
Yeah.
aware of it.
Yeah.
So
And now I have quit social media completely.
right.
Last year, I've left Facebook. I didn't tell. The joke I always make is that I did an Irish goodbye. You know, the Irish goodbye, for those that aren't aware, is you kind of just leave the party.
No.
You just leave.
Okay. Was not aware of the
It's an
Irish
Irish
goodbye.
goodbye. Yeah. Yep. It's not like a long farewell
Yeah.
or anything like that. That's just gone. Like, where'd he go?
Yeah. So social media is one of those things that can either, help or hurt. And I'm not on the fence. I personally, I'm not on social media,
Yeah.
but company wise, we are.
Oh, but we have a marketing team at AutoFlow for me. Tracy with the
Right.
podcasting does a great job for there. So
Yeah.
I I have people. No, I have wonderful network of friends who are able to engage that space so that I don't have to. And what it forces me to do is connect better with people
Mhm.
in deliberate ways, not just a convenient way to connect, but a deliberate way to connect. It's a stronger connection.
Well, this is my opinion in this time of social media where we have friends
Hmm.
or like talking to one shop owner the other day, this advisor upset a guy who had 2 million followers, which
Oops.
is a whole nother story.
Oops.
I think the fact that when you can establish relationships today outside of social media, they become much more valued.
Yes.
They last longer. They're deeper. I mean, Dave and I sat up till 10:30 last night talking. It's like it's a great conversation. It's like,
COVID taught us that if nothing else, is the fact that, wow, when we can't get together, we really miss each other.
hmm
Now, I'll tell you, it is a challenge today because the younger generations, we keep talking about what did we hear throughout the day? We hear, hey, I'm running short of help, need more help, need better help, need
hmm
more help. And a lot of folks are retiring
Mhm.
and getting out of it. It doesn't even matter what the industry is. And how do you bring back in the younger generations? And so there's a huge need for understanding social media and communicating with that younger bunch because that's pretty much how they communicate. And it used to be one platform. Now there's 15 different platforms out
Yeah.
there. And so a little bit of what in our industry might need is how do we manage that? And yes, there's various companies out there that will help you with it. And if we don't know, we're going to need to reach out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Good chance you can hire someone to help you with that sort of
Yeah.
stuff.
And I'm kind of like you. It sometimes it can just all of a sudden you get all caught up in it, and it's like, wait a minute, what happened in the last 30 minutes? And is there somebody that can handle it
Oh.
better, quicker, faster?
hmm
No, there's a lot of ethical things that go in it too. This is technology in an age of AI, especially where look, we're post-truth. We're post-truth. This was a neat week, by the way. I don't know when the recording's going on this, but for those that are listening, we just saw a moon mission.
Yeah.
And it has been quite some decades. There are
A
people alive who
long
have now
time.
seen two, but this was the first one where that photo of the Earth has me on it. And that's neat.
That's very
It's
cool.
really neat. Hard week for flat earthers, though.
Oh, yeah.
Hard week for those poor souls.
They'll argue that this moon mission
They
never
will argue.
happened.
Of course they will, and that's the point. Is AI and the misinformation that can
Right.
be perpetuated out there now, it can be done so easily that how do you vet data anymore? It'd be so easy to convince someone of something happening in the world that wasn't really happening.
Mhm.
And that's scary. It
Yeah.
really is.
Well, okay. So you underscore my, I'll call it disdain for AI because when I start distrusting something, I want to ignore it.
Hmm.
So I know there are tons of opportunities in their AI, but I know there's
Mhm.
tons of threats. So you're more in the software space
Yeah.
and you're more engaged with AI than either David or I. So what I'd like us to talk about is what are opportunities that we see for AI
Mhm.
and what threats do we see for AI?
Oh boy, I've read some neat books on the threat, especially. I could go down that rabbit trail so deep, and it's so scary. And yet, Chris at AutoFlow challenged our leadership team to learn to leverage AI,
Right.
and it came with a book. recommendation. It's called AI Driven Leader by Jeff Woods. Jeff spelled Geoff. And in that book, that's the first time I was introduced to the idea of AI as a thought partner. A thought partner. Now, I resisted AI. I was the guy in the company like kicking and screaming, "This is dumb. All it's doing is reading and extrapolating information out of emails. That's what my brain does, and I'm good at it. And I read fast, and I blink, and I remember." And like this is so it's encroaching on something I have pride in, is what I initially looked at it as. And of course, there's especially initially all the slop, all the hallucinations, and all the wrong elements of it, guys. It's getting better all the time, and right now, today, it's as bad as it'll ever be. And where we're at is a need to be able to leverage the good that it has in order to really, and I hate saying this, but to stay relevant in the workforce that we're about to enter. It is a skill that is required. It is a skill that's required, and leadership needs to be able to understand it. And like that Jeff Woods book, one of the first things he talked in there is this CRIT prompt. I'm going to do a topic on this as well because it's such a good prompt. It stands for context, role, interview, task. Context, role, interview, task. CRIT. Easy to remember when it's spelled that way. You can actually do this in any order when you prompt an AI. I like Claude. Anthropic makes Claude, not GPT. I've stopped using GPT. I think Gemini is an idiot. Claude's been my man right now. No, Claude's a decent program, and you'll start playing with it, and you'll start to see why. But context, role, interview, task. So you give the prompt the context of whatever it is that you're trying to do. Let's just maybe outline for a webinar that you're putting together. And so, all right, I'm building a webinar on AI and the pits and perils of AI, and your role is to work with me as an instructional designer so that I can make a coherent project that actually flows. I usually don't do a great job on this myself because I'm a subject matter expert more than an instructional designer. You can load it with all the context and explain why in that statement. So, all right, it knows now you're making a webinar. It knows what its role is supposed to be. The next one is interview. You ask it to ask you questions to get further context in the thing that you're doing. And you have to specify this, because if you don't, you're in trouble. One question at a time, and you can put a limit on it too, but I usually say unlimited until you have full context. You have to do this. Say one question at a time, because if you don't, it'll give you a list of 20 questions, and you're going to be sitting there replying to like 20 questions in a prompt, and it's horrible. And then task, what's the outcome? What's the final product of this thing going to be? It'll be a slide deck along with an outline and speaker notes for me. And like now, you might think like, oh, people building webinars now out of this and fabricating notes and all these things. You're going to be the one prompting all the information and data and sources.
Well, so one of when I was first introduced to ChatGPT by Mike Delacriz.
A lot of people,
So I'm at Vision, and Mike asked me, he goes, "You use ChatGPT?" I'm like, "No, what's that?" That was the way early days, and I was talking about this, and he said, you can have it do anything. I'm like, I mentioned something I was struggling with, which was a press release.
Oh, yeah. Oh, really very robotic language press releases. So this is actually cut and dry. Really good one. I can't write press releases in press release tone. That's not my style.
It's like there's things in there like they don't fit with me. And so he goes, you tell her how many points. I'm like, and I started like, okay, it works pretty good. And you're right. You're delivering it. It's your thoughts. So it can help you.
It helps you organize it. I get a thread of thought, and it goes here, it goes here, it goes here. It's scattered. But the way it's a great interviewer, it has a flow to the questions it asks, and then all of a sudden it's drawing out of me a story just because of the questions that come up that I wasn't thinking to ask myself to trigger a thing. And now my content's richer as a result of the fact that it's drawn out of me something that I would have likely omitted. And you know the moments every time you do a presentation, you're like, I'm getting more of that stuff up front now in those sort of things. That's just one example of project. It's much more powerful for app development and other things, writing software code. Yes, our dev team's very aware of the fact that it can code now, and it can code on par and better than what a junior developer can do.
Wow.
Not what a senior developer can do, but junior.
So you made mention that for a while you were kind of like keeping it at arm's length and all that.
I hate it. I hate that it's good.
If we want to experiment, with AI, how do we take that tiny step? Is the best thing maybe to hit that button after you've written a response to an email and see what it does? Is
Yeah.
it like I've used it a little bit for PowerPoints
Yeah.
and it tends to clean up my PowerPoints?
Look, I love reading, and a lot of the books I like history and diving into some theological things and that sort of stuff too. And it's really hard to find like a book club that likes that sort of stuff and people that'll talk about those sort of books. And my kids aren't into those sort of things yet. My wife is usually reading stuff that's different too. And so what I have found is that when I've got a thread of a thought that I want to be able to put down in like some coherent thing, maybe I'm going to do a speech at Toastmasters or I'm going to be talking about something on the podcast or anything else. It's like, I was reading in Thomas Cahill's book. I think it was like The Gifts of the Jews, or it was How the Irish Saved Civilization. There's this quote, and it was about this, that, or the other thing. And it's, oh, you're thinking of this, but it's like, yes, that's the one. Yes. Yeah. And then like I had the same thing. It was like actually literally Thomas Cahill book, favorite historian. I'll go in the weeds on this, but I was trying to find this specific chapter about how the Luther Bible had mistranslated a specific word. Instead of barbarian, it was like undeutsch. And so it created inadvertently this sense of nationalism in the earliest printed Bibles that instilled a national identity that turned out to be rather problematic in history. And it was a really fascinating little journey that I got. I don't even remember how the thread began, but once I started to go into that research mode and prompting some of the general points that I was trying to pull out of this, it was just a very quick way to get to the thing that I couldn't even remember which specific book in that series it was, but I had it on the shelf and it's either this one or this one. I got through and started flipping through it, got me to the spot that I was looking for. It was cool. Like cool.
Well, excellent. Yeah. So from a service center side of things,
Yeah.
now talking about AI, share with us, one of the main components with AutoFlow, where they saw an extreme need to maybe have a little bit more of a conversation, not a conversation, but a message coming back. And is it fair to say sometimes we're really, really good at something like diagnosing or fixing cars,
boy.
and maybe, writing a novel is not the best thing, for us.
Yep.
And can AI take over there?
Well, AI helps immediately, and already we do this with AutoFlow. AI note rewrites for when a technician just gives a little blurb of something.
Mhm.
But where I'm also going with it and where we're heading next is a lot of stuff with dictation. When you speak something naturally, that it puts it into the right spot for you. Like there's going to be some really neat stuff happening that's going to speed up technicians so much faster, because imagine saying, oh yeah, I'm looking at a loose tie rod here, outer tie rod right front. And all of a sudden, the note goes to the right spot in the proper line on the DVI, and it's eloquently worded with no ums, ahs, or fillers. Really cool.
Time saver, major time saver, because used to all that had to be a long time ago handwritten. Then all that had to be typed in.
Yep.
And then if we really wanted to polish it up, we would hit the spell check and thesaurus, and nobody does all that. And so it just got sent out.
There wasn't a red squiggly. We missed it.
Exactly. Exactly. So, well, that's fantastic, because it's
neat things you can do with it. Yeah. And if your mind can think of it, you can probably speak it to existence now. And Claude can guide you, like any of those AI chat models, step by step. You want to build an app that does something goofy or something useful. If there's something you wish you had an app to do, it can literally guide you step by step now into creating that thing. It might not be good at first, but you'll get better. Do a simple project first. But you can literally bring in a weekend an app into creation, a web app hosted online or locally hosted on your own machine. Some amazing stuff. Weird times.
I tell you, it is, our industry's changing so fast. We have the tools out there. It's just our tools are becoming different. We used to think of everything in this industry as hand tools or scan tools, and it's just changing so quick, and we've got to do everything we can to help out that next, getting into that, that next decade.
Yeah.
Yep. And part of that is enticing and really letting the younger generations know, and it's a message that we say quite a bit, is you can actually have a lot of fun in the automotive industry. And it's not just it's not just wrenching on a car.
No.
It's not, we need people to write code. We need people to come up with processes and programs to continue to make things faster, better, more efficient. We need coaches. I mean, how many times have we seen, you know, two very different needs for a coach? Maybe it's somebody in their 50s and 60s and they're sick and tired of being sick and tired, and that's all they've ever known. And can a coach send them in a new direction? Fantastic. What I see a lot out there in the field is the father son or the father daughter, or it's the sibling, and they're like, okay, I understand the business, but everything I was taught by my mom or my dad, and I want to see an outside perspective of it. So here we go again,
Mhm.
with a coach.
Mhm.
It's
Hmm.
it is I've been in it all my life, and it's an industry that I love, and I don't make a living rich on cars. I just happen to get into the parts procurement side of things,
Yeah.
and that goes into all kinds of other things in marketing and every one of those things. I think we need to learn how to work faster, smarter, more efficient,
Yeah.
and we're gonna have to take chances, I think.
Well, the tools are going to do some of the mundane things for us. I mean, you come from the parts world, like the databases of things. I mean, you got the aces and pies, and you got all these weird database things that have been done for decades now, and it's slowing. Like to develop an app that plays with those things, not much fun. No developer likes to go into that world and do things. Does AI need that structure anymore to be able to correlate when a part is this part or that thing for this no,
Nope.
like AI's ability to use data uh, that is not architectured well and still extrapolate it very quickly into something useful like an estimate that'll write itself for a service advisor so they can focus on authentically connecting with their clients more than they ever have had time before because they're spending hours a day trying to figure out which part is which and all these. Oh my gosh, there's lots of great things ahead before AI absolutely does kill us all.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
All right. Well, it's wonderful. Thank you for spending so much time with us.
oh, it's fun.
It's enjoyable to be with a wonderful professional who loves God, loves cars.
Amen.
Yeah, it's a huge blessing.
All the best things. Thanks, guys.
Thank you
you.
very much. AI isn't coming, it's already here. The question isn't whether you'll use it, the question is whether you'll learn to use it wisely. We hope today's conversation helped you see both the opportunities and responsibilities that come with this rapidly changing technology. Thanks for joining us on Driven to Success. See you next time.